Hello and welcome back to Flip Motors UK. So today I'm in Nottingham. We're here to pick up a car, probably about the biggest risk I've taken yet. We're just going to hop in an Uber and head straight to BCA. I'll be back with you shortly. There we are, just arrived at BCA Nottingham. Haven't quite clocked the car just yet, but we're going to go in and get everything all sorted. Still waiting for a phone call off BCA Newcastle. Seems they don't want to deal with my complaint. They've missed 3 different deadlines now, so I guess I'm going to have to be unreasonable. But yeah, let's hope this one's a much more pleasant experience in Nottingham. I will add that the deadlines were set by BCA, not me. I'm not being awkward. So we've got V5 and so on. I'm not going to show you all the details, but the previous owner was called Fred. So I think that is a pretty good sign. It was tuned into BBC Radio 4 on the pictures too. And I think you can see it now. MK5 Golf GTI. My phone camera really is shocking. Don't recommend these Google phones. Look at that. It's actually red, not black as well. Again, apologies for the camera quality. She's a beauty, isn't she? Brakes and that look alright. Tyres. It's got about 11 months MOT on it. There's a couple of marks here and there. But seems pretty reasonable. Little mark on the back, unfortunately. A couple of little dents on the back quarter there. I'll get my local dent man Paul to just dent on that. Saying that, the rest of the car's looking about as shiny as his head. It's looking up lovely. Little bit of surface rust down there. Looks like where people have been scraping, getting in and out of. There's no smells of smoke, nothing like that. Good sign. I've got a little bit of lacquer peel on the front bumper, but with the extra mileage on this, I think it's about 145,000, I'm not surprised. Overall, it seems to have held up pretty alright. Service book, loads and loads of different stamps even up to more recent years. Brake fluids, coolants, that's a good sign. And also, if there was one for a timing belt, I think it was about 2015 or something. Pop the bonnet. Struts getting a little bit old. Oh, look at this. Timing belt changed 5th of the 3rd something, 70,000 mile. That's probably the 2015 one, isn't it? But at least it's got the proof of that being done previously. Pleased with that. Let's make sure we've got plenty of coolant and oil and so on. It's not mixing. Coolant looks maybe a tiny bit low. Looks fairly clean though. Seems pretty alright. It was all good on the report, so I hope it is. Oil looks, you'd probably give that a change. It's looking a bit old, so I'll get it serviced. It was last done in 2023. Have a quick sniff in here. Seems alright. It smells like coolant, so we'll get a little bit of water in there to top it up. And I think when we get it back, we'll get it freshly serviced and that anyway. We'll have a proper walk around shortly, but first of all, I'll make sure we get home alright. Right, well, I feel like a bit of a mug, to be honest, because I put 40 quid of fuel in this and I think 20 would have got us back alright. It's done nearly 40 to the gallon. And I tell you what, it put a smile on my face, to be fair. So I remember when these first came out on, what, 05 plates, something like that. I remember Clarkson saying, what a great car for to drive. He preferred them to the Focus STs, Megans, Astras, obviously, you name it. But I can see why. So I think the main reason for that is they're just, I don't know, they're not quite as exciting, but as a daily driver, obviously Clarkson owned one of these himself, didn't he? I can see why, they're just great. I've drove plenty of Golf GTIs in my time. Not so much of Mark 5s actually. Do they feel quick? Nah, probably not. It depends what you've drove, to be honest. They're just under 200 brake horsepower, but we've already had a little bit of damage down here. The colour really does show up quite poorly on my Google Pixel phone. I think it's all standard, all the exhaust and everything. Probably put a fresh set of plates on, or at least some different screws, because they look quite poor, don't they? We've got 2 keys for it. Yeah, this one, the battery's flat, so we'll go and get the other one out of the car. But I'll show you the mileage and so on as well, because I'm absolutely staggered. It drives really, really well. There's no knocks or bangs. As I mentioned, very slight brake judder on the front, and perhaps the start of a front wheel bearing. It's obviously due a service. There seems to be a very slight blow from the centre section of the exhaust, which you can hear on idle. There's a bulb out. but other than that, it's absolutely spot on. I don't know if you can hear that, but there's maybe a very slight blow from the middle there. But yeah, everything around here is working all right. I reset the tail light, okay. Yeah, it's just telling me one of the bulbs there not working. But 40 quid and I've got 135 mile left, and that's coming back from Nottingham to Darlington, so that's a good 120 mile. Not even that bad on fuel, have I? I was talking to one of my friends, he's got one of these, and you know, over time they all start flaking. This wasn't the best era of Volkswagen, they all start flaking round here. But normally you can't even read the window switches or the light settings, but this one, it's in really good condition. All the little cubby flaps and that work. It's obviously been maintained correctly by the right people, looked after by a bit of an enthusiast. You've also got the GTI embossed in the headrest, sorry. You've got your nice, what do you call it, tartan pattern seats like the original Golf GTI. Very slight wear on panels like this, but I don't think you're really going to be too worried about that, to be honest, are you? We've got service book in here, which is pretty full, to be fair. So we've got all the earlier services done by like your VW garages and that. I'm not really too worried about that because that's a long time ago and it could have missed a lot of services then. First 3, 11, 12. Then we go on to 13 and 14. 14 it did get a timing belt and tensioner 2 at E&S Swift in Barnsley, South Yorkshire. So it could have been a long-term owner. Crow's Garage, again, Barnsley. Crow's Garage, and they've maintained the car for a while until Harrison's Auto Services have on top of that. Last service 2023, so it is due. A couple of details on the previous owner. He was called Fred. He acquired the car in 2013, so pretty good, to be fair. All the radio and everything's all right. Heated seats. They seem to be a lot better on the base than they are the like the backrest of it, but I'm not too worried about that. Really does sound healthy. All the locks and everything are working. We're a bit temperamental on VWs of this age. I mean, bodywork wise, you've got a couple of little dents there. Probably will get them out. Nice lack of rust on them front arches. Very slight bubbling starting on the sill. I think we can try and protect that. We might be putting a fresh set of discs on though. Being red, typically, you do have a little bit of lacquer peel on the front bumper there, but are you going to worry about that? I think it's more about managing people's expectations, isn't it? It's a 17-year-old Golf GTI with 142,000 miles. There's a few chips that we do want to touch in to keep it looking as right as possible though. Wheels, again, very minor curb marks like so. Don't want to touch the brakes because they will still be quite hot, but let's say we might be putting a set of discs and pads on it. We're all pretty straight down the passenger side. Let's have a look in here. A couple of little minor scratches we'll have a little go at. Some boot struts to put on a focus there. In the back seats all looking really nice condition. Nothing to worry about there. I'm having a little listen for this blow on the exhaust. I think it's a centre section. You won't be able to see much from here. Back brake's fine, hand brake's alright. We normally rust round here. There's very minor chipping around there. We'll probably just touch that in for now, keep it looking right. But overall, it's a really, really tidy car. Do need an aerial mast. So there's a couple of jobs, but none of them too expensive. There's my bag that I bring to collect for cars. I can't remember if I mentioned earlier on, but I actually brought the missus with us this time. She really enjoyed it, annoying us all the way home. But she actually brought a breakdown bag with, what you may call them, like a blanket and all that in it ready, and I thought, filling me up with confidence and all, but yeah, we didn't need it. It was absolutely fine. We'll have a quick look under the bonnet, make sure everything's still looking good. But I think I've got a really good buy here. What's that? You want to know what I paid for it? Well, it cost me 1,300 quid plus the fees, which was just over 1,600. Obviously there was quite a bit of transport involved, so that's probably going to take me up to about 17. I'm going to have to get a wheel bearing done, front discs and pads, exhaust repair. That might take us up to what, £2 grand? A couple of little bolt-ons, the aerial. I'll sort the plate out myself, get some proper screws. Should be a good bit of profit in this car. Nice healthy sounding engine, 2 litre FSI turbo. We'll give all that a clean up as well, get it looking its best. I think Fred's done a good job of looking after it, but I'll tell you what, I did notice the auxiliary belt. A lot of people make that mistake. When the timing belt's done, they don't do the auxiliary belt, so I'll probably do that as well, to be fair. I will try and read that. That's 1/5 of a third something. I will make sure that matches up with the last one, because it might have even had a timing belt since then. If you were going OTT, you could probably put a belt on it, but not a new car, is it? There's, there's certain things that are a little bit too far. If I put a timing belt on every single one of my cars, well, I'll put it this way, I won't be making any money. I always advise the owners, if there is no proof it being done recently, at some point I think you do want to be getting a timing belt done. I know someone asked that in the comments in one of the previous videos. Next job, we'll get this straight into JBM. He's going to cast his eye over it, make sure what I found is right, and he might find 1 or 2 other bits. A wheel bearing, I don't know, it might just be me being very, very picky, but we'll see. That needs a good valet. Might make a quick start on that. It's about 3:30 now, so it's going to be getting dark fairly shortly, but as I mentioned, I'm at the Middlesbrough game tonight against Sunderland, so I want to go out for a bit of tea and that first, and a couple of beers before the match would be nice, wouldn't it? But you know what, I'm glad this thing hasn't held that up, because we were half expecting to be broken down at the side of the road. And do you know what the worst bit is? This car was from We Buy Any Car, but I've done 150 mile in it. Yeah, it might need a few little bits, but come on, let's be realistic, eh? No, I think we'll take this to the match tonight as well, to be fair. Forget a few P's, we'll take the GTI down. Bright red, up the borough. So yeah, I'll probably do a couple more bits for now, and then yeah, get sorted for later on. What did I pay for it? So it's gonna always, well, like I say, it was 1,300 plus the fees, but I think it's gonna always about £2 sorted, isn't it? Just over £2 maybe. But what are they going for? That's the most important thing, isn't it? I mean, I could have paid £1 for it, but if we're only selling for 2, it's pointless, isn't it? It looks on Auto Trader the absolute cheapest GTI of this shape in the country on like a 55 plate categorised was about 2.5. There was cars with more miles than this for about 3,200 quid. This one's done 143 now. It's fairly tidy. It's a later car on a 2008 plate, and it's not been thrashed around Bradford like some of them have. You can tell some of them look absolutely awful. I think this one stands out as a bit of a gem, to be fair. Yeah, it's not perfect, but it's a usable modern classic. 2 litre turbo, you've got just under 200 horsepower, and I think to get into that, they're not classic. One day they will be, obviously. Much better than them Mark IIIs and Mark IVs. This car was a step in the right direction for Volkswagen, wasn't it? But I think they're getting there where it's not just a case of it's some chav that's probably nicked it. They're getting there as oh yeah, it's nice and tidy for its age. You know what I mean, car enthusiasts. But anyway, I think this will make a lovely car for someone for around I was thinking maybe 3,250 or something once I've got the work done. Might always say 2,200 quid by the time I've got a little bit of body work done. The wheels have obviously been refurbished at some point. I think they've done a nice job, to be fair, though. That anthracite colour, don't look too chavvy. And yeah, it should be about 800 quid profit, maybe even up to £1,000 if I'm lucky. But I won't be giving the car away, because it's rare you find one of these in good condition at a sensible price, and it's probably one of them cars one day I'll watch them go up in value like the Mark 1s and 2s and think, why on earth did I sell it? But there you go. Thanks very much for watching anyway, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I have making it. I haven't got a cracking car on our hands here. Would you have bought it? Ukcgr, We Buy Any Car, high mileage Golf GTI. I don't think a lot of people would have been that brave. Cap clean was $1,850 and I only paid obviously $1,300 plus the fees, so I think I've done all right there. It's hard to get a slightly older hot hatchback for a reasonable price. But yeah, do I prefer it to the Megane as well? It's more usable, but it doesn't scare me. Right, thanks very much for watching. Let's hope we get a nice result later for the Borough. I'll catch you all later. If you haven't already, please like and subscribe. I'll catch you all in a bit. Thanks now. Take care. Bye bye.